Hey, what's up guys, John here. Shocking data is in. Home prices have crashed the fastest pace since 1964.
New data shows U.S. home prices are dropping at a historic level.
Inside 60 years. So for context, the average price for a home in America 18 months ago was $495,000. The average price for a single-family home now is $387,000. Newsweek put this article out saying that homeowners are essentially losing $223 daily in value from their properties. New homeowners lose $122,000 as home prices crash. You start to look at this number and what's actually happening inside the economy, what's happening inside the housing market. It's unreal. It's really unreal. 30-year low in home sales right now.
Sales of existing homes dropped to a 30-year low in 2023 after mortgage rates climbed to their highest rate in more than 2 decades.
So you might go on Zillow. A lot of people are going on Zillow looking at this estimate saying, hey, my home value is staying strong. I'm looking at local listings in my market. Everything seems fine. But look at what's actually selling. More and more and more homes are getting reduced. The prices are getting slashed. Home sellers are starting to wake up. And when you start to really peel this back, what you're going to start to see here is that we were in the greatest real estate bubble in American history. In 2007, before the big crash, the great financial crisis, the average home was selling for about $227,000. Literally 2x what we were at 18 months ago. How do home prices double from the peak 2007, yet real wages basically stayed flat, nearly flat the entire time, yet the cost of living and everything else just continued to skyrocket. A used car back then was $7,900. Now a used car is $35,000. What we were in is the greatest bubble ever, and what we're walking into is the greatest investing opportunity in American history. I'm going to walk you through exactly what's going on. And if you play your cards right, you're going to make an absolute fortune. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. YouTube will share this content to educate other people about what's going on in America's economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself for this massive wealth transfer, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session for tomorrow, for Friday. Take a look at this. So, 387. That is just unreal. It's like hard to wrap my head around how fast this is dropping. 495 to 387. Now, foreclosures starting to really pick up. So you have foreclosures really starting to pick up. You have insurance and taxes really starting to pick up. And then you have this one really big problem that nobody's really talking about, which is that 40% of all mortgages in America were taken at the height of the market. People overpaid for these properties. So they overpaid for these properties. They were waiving inspection and appraisal contingencies. They were desperate to get into these properties, paying $50,000, $100,000 over asking. And now what's happening? Well, they put 11% down as the average down payment, and home prices have dropped from 495 to 387. So if they put 50 or 60K down, that means they're $60,000 underwater on these properties if they bought an average home, not over asking, plus the cost of sale. So hiring a realtor, which is 6-7%. 7%, you have to add in closing costs, transfer taxes, things like that. So the entire cost is maybe 7-8% to actually sell the property. So they'd have to basically strike a check for $100,000 to leave. Think about that, $100,000 just to leave your house. And many people are saying, no, not in my market, John, not in my market. Let's look at the actual data. Let's look at what's really going on. Because the more that you look at what's actually going on, the more you'll realize that a lot of property owners are in trouble. I'm talking tens of millions of property owners are in trouble. So home equity lines of credit, mortgage balance delinquencies, and foreclosures all pick it up. Lenders foreclosed Dallas apartment tower, Tri-County revival stalled by foreclosure fight. I mean, all these properties going into foreclosure, landlords losing their properties. Another landlord just lost 3,400 units. You're starting to see a lot of pressure coming into the housing market, into the real estate market. And then, same time, home insurance has picked up 21% this year. And I personally believe it's going to pick up a lot more when you look at what's going on in San Diego. We look at what's happened right now in California. Look what happened in Maine. You look at all these disasters that are coming. They're coming for premiums. Like these premiums are going to really start to pick up in a really big way. And job market as well. 82,000 people lost their job in January, 136% increase from December. So you look at the writing on the wall. Things are changing. Small businesses are, the last resort for bankruptcy is rising on Main Street business. Small business bankruptcies worst pace since the pandemic. Small business bankruptcies are accelerating. Small business bankruptcies on the rise. So when you look at all this, what do you really have to look at? You look at who owns the properties, who owns the single-family homes, the duplexes, the triplexes, the fourplexes. Small business owners, right? Small business owners, mom and pop investors, everyday Americans that have a traditional job, right? They own most of the housing stock. Well, when a lot of people are starting to lose their job and small businesses are starting to, fold, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? A lot of people are going to be forced to sell off their properties. That's what's going to happen next. And so the more you look at this, the more you realize that a big opportunity is coming. So here's what I mean by this. Average interest rate right now, based on a 698 credit score, which is the national average for America, is a 7.857%, right? So on a $387,000 purchase price, right, $387,600, which is the average here in America, right, average $387,600, that brings a monthly payment to $3,100, right? The average to rent a single family home is $2,018. So you'd have to commit to paying 30% more to buy a property than to rent one. And you'd have to come out of pocket $42,000 plus closing costs, roughly $50,000 in cash you would need. Plus you would need to, be able to pay increased insurance costs and increased taxes, right? A lot of people are not going to run out to do that. And a lot of people are going to have a harder time, even if they wanted to buy these properties today, to get the mortgages than they were, 2 years ago at 3%. A 3% mortgage on even $495, you're still looking at right now it's $3,116. A 3% mortgage, $2,500, you're still, $600-700 less, and insurance was less back then, right? So it's still $800 a month savings, $10,000 a year. Now, when you look at what is going to be happening and where this opportunity is, 70% of all single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes are owned by mom and pop investors, these small business owners. And so what are they going to do when the world starts getting harder? They're going to have to offload these assets. That's when you look at MetLife Insurance and Bloomberg and CNBC, they all said the same exact thing right around the same exact date, that 40% of all of that property group, single family, duplex, triplex, fourplex, will be owned by investors and institutional players in 6 years. Right now it's 5%. So an 800% increase, right? So when you look at the numbers and you look at what's actually happening in the world, it's very, very clear to see what probably the best play would be. If you're a renter right now and you're spending $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 a month, or maybe even more depending on your market, that's a big waste of money, right? You're basically throwing away 20 grand a year to get somebody else or put somebody else in a stronger financial position. When a lot of those properties, these duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes will be coming on the market. Right now, even in Houston, for example, like $430 for this, which is basically brand new. It's beautiful, right? This is in literally every single city. $439. You have triplexes and fourplexes priced in this range, right? To where $179 for this. Do a little bit of work, and that could be a really, really nice property. And so imagine if you were to buy a property. Let's just call it for $350, right? You were buying, let's just say, a fourplex for $350, and you were to rent out each unit for say $1,200, right? If you were to do that at a 7.87% mortgage, you're in a pretty good spot. $2,800 if you're renting each unit out for $1,200, you're living for free, probably even cash flowing some money, right? You might even be making $500, $800, $1,000. And so if you are spending $1,500 and you could go from being at a negative $1,500 to not spending that $1,500 and also be at a positive $1,000 or positive $500, you'd be in a really strong position to save up more money to go buy another property. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think insurance and tax are going to go through the roof in a lot of markets, so pay extremely close attention to what's going on with insurance. Some taxes are going to really, really start to pick up in certain pockets, and landlord-tenant laws are going to likely get a lot more radical. So if you're in a market like New York City, LA, San Fran, you're in Boston, you're in Philly, these are markets where you want to start to pay attention closely to what's going on with landlord rights, because if you have a tenant that you want to evict and you're in Florida and you're evicting that tenant, it's costing you $500, that's one thing, right? If the tenant doesn't pay you and you want to evict the tenant, $500, okay, right? But if you're in LA and that same tenant wants to hire a tenant advocacy network to represent them, drag out the court case for 6 months, 9 months, demand a jury trial, and then you're out of pocket 20, 30 grand, and you only put 50 grand down on a property, what does this do, right? This basically absorbs your entire down payment just evicting one bad tenant. So paying very, very close attention to what's going on inside of each market is going to be extremely intelligent. So what do I think is going to happen? I think home values are going to continue to fall worse, fall at a faster pace. I think home values are going to likely continue to sink in 2024, early 2024. And I think some really, really big opportunities are going to come for smart and savvy real estate investors that are out there with a game plan, with some cash, stable income, and great credit. Those, 4 things are going to be really, really important. So really kind of connect your dots here. Food prices will likely get a lot worse. Inflation will get a lot worse. So drawing your cost down to live to zero or really close to it will put you in a really, really strong position. When everyone else is kind of locked in and they don't know where to go and what to do, you're in a spot where your cost bases are basically zero, and everything you make from your job or your business goes straight to other investments. You'll be able to grow and prosper when everyone else is doing the opposite. Drop below. Let's have a conversation. If you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free strategy session for tomorrow, for Friday. Catch you next video.